Good people, I'm Dmitry, and behind me is a $69 LANcool 215. It's really not hard to imagine what a budget enclosure should look like in 2020, and I feel like the 215 sets a good standard on what other companies should strive towards in terms of airflow. Not so much in feature set because this is very basic, but I feel like LANcool's priority here was airflow, and they certainly delivered. You can see the temperatures here are absolutely under control, and for a $69 enclosure, this is impressive. Of course, the front panel is a slight barrier to airflow because the front fans are not high static pressure and they only move at maximum 800 RPM. The reason why I'm showing you the temperatures right away is because Lian Li had to cut some corners in order to hit that price point and to hit this performance level. So I want to focus the rest of my review on talking about what's not so perfect about the 215 and perhaps maybe you should look elsewhere. Just when you thought SSDs are getting boring, check out this new Team Group Cardea Ceramic C440 M.2 PCIe Gen 4x4 SSD in 1 and 2 TB capacities with insanely fast read-write speeds, but also with that unique ceramic plate for heat dissipation. Check it out below. Alright, so first let's align our expectations because this is a budget enclosure. $69 is not anything super premium, and it does separate itself very well from the LANcool 2 mesh. You can check out our full review to get acquainted with the mesh enclosure, which is fantastic, but here the build quality isn't anything special. So the front panel, for example, is plastic aside from the metal mesh, and right next to the glass side panel it doesn't look very premium. Let's be honest though, the front mesh looks exactly what Cooler Master had delivered with the H500 series, so they're taking inspiration here. You can even see the reinforcement on the center, which is exactly what Cooler Master did too. On the positive side, however, the metal mesh is fairly strong. It doesn't bend even with a strong finger poke, and it also acts as a dust filter, therefore eliminating the need to add another layer for the airflow barrier. The bling is appreciated as the two 200mm fans are ARGB and they connect to their own hub at the back, and we also have the Lian Li logo at the bottom that is also illuminated as part of this whole system, so you can cycle between the different colors via the LED button in the top I/O. For $69, it is appreciated, and what surprised me the most is that each fan has the ARGB pin, so you can connect them directly into your motherboard if you want to bypass the hub, which by the way you can also plug into your motherboard and have that control through software. The hub can also support 6 3-pin fans, which is great if you want to run everything off the hub, which is powered by SATA. The top dust filter is magnetic, pretty standard stuff, and here you can do up to a 280mm radiator with dual 140 and 120 fans. One really positive thing about this enclosure is that size-wise, it's not anything bigger than the DX500 or the new Corsair 4000 series, yet it looks like we have additional spacing above the motherboard for a radiator and set of fans, so you're not going to be overlapping too much, and memory clearance should not be a concern with the 215. And so overall, if you remove the large fans at the front, you can do a 360 radiator up there, a 280 at the top, which is pretty decent for a $69 enclosure, and you have full 7 centimeters in the power supply shroud clearance for a radiator and set of fans, and plus, because you can install the fans outside of the frame at the front, that means you can do push-pull easy. By the way, you will notice the difference between retail fans as they will have a much smaller sticker, and the front panel on my sample was really difficult to remove, but that will be changed because the tooling has been modified for easier removal. The I/O at the top is properly spaced out between the ports, although the audio jack is really far away, and also this being in the corner, it's kind of inconvenient. Also, the tempered glass side panel somehow is inconvenient because there are no latches on the side panel at the rear, so when you remove the thumb screws, you don't have anything to pull the side panel with. So you're gonna have a lot of fingerprints to clean as you try to remove the side panel backwards. Moving inside, this is a really basic interior, but ATX and eATX motherboards are supported, which is great. The entire power supply shroud is perforated, and we have this massive dust filter that is removable from the back, and it spans the entire floor. A few things to notice here is that we have no vertical PCI slots. The dual SSD caddies behind the motherboard tray do not have the captive thumb screws, which I find really odd, and they cannot be relocated on top of the power supply shroud, which is something that you can do with most cases, but not with the 215. And there's a single hard drive gauge in the bottom chamber, but without a drive caddy. So if you do insert a 3.5-inch drive there, you have to use screws on the side. So as you can see, the case is budget oriented and the experience is pretty bare bones, especially when it comes to cable management. It's a good thing that we have the hub included, so you don't have to run the fans into your motherboard, but the Velcro straps are super basic, and I find the lack of cable type points around the enclosure, especially at the bottom, a little bit of a downside, because I mean, I could have done a better cable management job, but only if the case allows me to do so. For example, my latest experience with the Corsair 4000 series, that cable management system for $79 is far superior to what you find with 215. But here, of course, the priority has been given to airflow with the 2 fans here and the 1 exhaust 120mm fan. So finally, here's what the system looks like assembled. I really appreciate the extra height above the motherboard, so if you are installing any radiators there, you have plenty of room. And for the $69 price point, this is the best airflow enclosure in its class, despite the front panel not looking very pretty. But this is a clear example of product segmentation, because the Lenco 215 in its own budget class that doesn't touch the feature standpoint that you find on the Lenco 2 Mesh, which is a $99 case. I feel like Lian Li is starting to become a bit more aggressive in its pricing strategy, and a bit like Phanteks of releasing proper enclosures in their price categories without overstepping on the toes of their own products. That's a really good strategy to top charts when it comes to temperatures, but like I said, my experience in terms of building and handling the enclosure, it doesn't feel very good. It feels like a cheap enclosure, and that's exactly what you get. All right, guys, I'm Dmitry. Thanks so much for watching. Check out this other relevant content. Subscribe for more. I'll talk to you in the next video.